Does the Bible ever seem like a closed book or a chained up book or a book that somebody who has big, impressive brains has to understand? You think, oh, it's not really for me. I'm just a regular kind of person. Because often that's the case when I talk to people and say, I don't really understand it, especially the Old Testament, which is about 3/4 of our Bible. I think I don't really get it, so I'll just sort of avoid it. I'll stick with Jesus. He seems like a good guy, and we'll just kind of focus there. Well, actually, if that's for you, then this series, if you feel like that, this series is definitely for you. As I said, we've got this series all through history, Old Testament stories pointing to Jesus. The whole Old Testament points to Jesus. And we're going to kick off today with Noah. What do you think of when I say the word Noah? The ark. Yeah. Most people think about the ark. If we look over here, we've got a picture of the ark. We've got the model of the ark. All sorts of things. We think of this ark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading what Jonathan's read to us, part of it. I'm actually going to read some of this Bible here, which we've given to some of you folks who've got this, haven't you? I think I've mentioned this before. It's a secret, but grown-ups, buy this Bible, pretend it's for your grandchildren or something else, and read it, because it's really, really helpful. It's really opened the Bible to me as well. And I want to read some bits from it as we look at this account of Noah. And I've copied a few pictures out of it as well, so we can see what's going on. Let's have a look. So, let me have a look. Read from, let me see. It says this: Noah was God's friend. Noah listened to God. He talked to God. He just loved being with God, like you do with your best friend. Noah, God said, things have gone wrong. People have filled my world with hate instead of love. They're destroying themselves and each other and my world. I must stop them. First, we'll build an ark. Do you know how to build an ark? Neither did Noah, but God knew, and God would show him. A storm is coming, God told Noah, but I will rescue you. I promise. I'll send the animals to you, ones that creep and crawl and slither and slime and gallop and hop and bound and climb, and don't forget to pack everyone's food. A storm was going to wash away all the hate and sadness and everything that had gone wrong and make the world clean again. God had thought up a way to keep Noah safe, but Noah would have to trust God and do exactly as he told him. So when we think of Noah's Ark, who thinks of something like this? There, we've got something not far away from that. Folks, why don't you come on round now, because you really can't see. Come on, bring a chair, come and sit. We've got some other things for the kids as well in a minute. I feel like you're stuck right round the corner, because we look at it like that, and we tend to think this is Noah at the front with his little boat, like the one there's a boat down in the channel that bobs around. We call it the cartoon boat, because it looks like a little kind of little tip-up boat. Noah's Ark would have been more like this. This is a replica of Noah's Ark, about to scale. When Jonathan read it, I'm sure you all went, oh, I know how long a cubit is. Does anyone know how long a cubit is? It's about 45 centimetres, 18 inches. So an ark would have been something in the region of 130 metres long. It's a huge vessel. And if we're looking at the specs, we can see that in verse 15 and 16. And so we've got Noah. In fact, thinking Noah, would anybody like to come and be Noah? Because unfortunately, I've got Noah's hard hat here that was left over from the ark. Who'd like to come out and be Noah? Anyone like to? George, you want to come and be Noah? No, you wouldn't like. Olivia, you'd like to be Noah? We can have Noah Etta. Here we are. Can you put that? Is that going to go over your? There, look at that. Brilliant. Come and see. Can you? I was going to say take a bow, but don't, because it will fall off. Whoop, like that will fall off as well. I need a new music stand. If only it was Christmas. Let's try again. Thank you, Rona. Thank you very much. So we've got Noah, and it was told to build this ark, and it's a big ark. So Let's see what else is in here. Here we are. Do you know what that is? That's a tape measure. Can you hold it out? Just show people what it is. And can you take a bit out? Brilliant. That's it. That is an 8-meter tape measure. So that's not going to be big enough to build this. But did you notice God gave some very precise instructions of what to do? And what did Noah do with it? Can you see it at verse 22, the last verse of chapter 6? It said, Noah did everything just as God had commanded him. He did everything just as God had commanded him. And why did he do that? If you look back at verse 9, it said, this is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man. That means he was right with God. He had a heart for God. So if we go back to our account of Noah here, which has just fallen off of here, it says, doesn't really have many page numbers in here. It says, so Noah built an ark. Noah's neighbours came out to watch and point. What have we got? We've got Noah, here's his plans, and he's building his ark. And the neighbours came out to watch and point and laugh because they didn't believe Noah about the boat or the storm or needing to be rescued. And Noah must have looked rather silly. His boat was in the middle of the desert. The desert was nowhere near the sea, and there wasn't even a cloud in the sky. Why would anyone need an umbrella, let alone a boat? But Noah didn't mind so much what other people thought. He minded what God thought. So he just did what God told him to do. You ever thought about that? I don't really mind so much what people think. I want to do what God thinks is right. Someone said to me once, they were well into their 80s, and I said, what's a good thing about getting older? And they said, less peer pressure. Less peer pressure. I feel like I'm my own man, my own woman. I don't feel like I have to do what others do when they may be laughing at you. He trusted God even when it was hard or it seemed crazy. As we look down the barrel of a new year, whether we're very little here, whether we're feeling a little bit older, are we going to trust God? Noah was a faithful ark builder. Did what God has said. Are we going to do the same? Now, talking of ark builder, I'd like us all to build an ark. So could you take that piece of green paper you've been given? Do you have a piece of paper, folks? Could you go and find a piece of... has anyone got a spare... Have you got a spare piece of paper? So if I take that tape measure... Oh, brilliant, thank you. Could you copy what we're going to do here? Okay, you take that one. And we're going to do some highly complex origami. It's not ready at all. Okay, we're going to build a little boat. Okay, so we're going to take our piece of paper and we're going to fold it from one corner down to look like that. Okay. Can you manage that? From that corner down to there. Okay. Oh, look. That's very kind. Okay, does it all look like that? It's not the hardest bit of origami. Now, the advantage of simple origami is twofold. So we're going to do a second fold over like that. Okay, so it's going to look like a little house. Can we see that? Like that. Over like that. There we go. All right, so we're like that. Over there like that. Yep, so we're going to go over there like that. Okay. So it should look symmetrical. There, look at the person next to you. They've absolutely got it nailed. Okay. And then, this is the tricky part. We're going to fold this bit back on itself to leave these bits open. Okay? Can you see like that? I can actually hear the cogs going round, you know that? Let's go and have a look, see what we got. So it's folded back on itself, so it looks like that. There we are. Last two folds. So then we've got to fold these bits over. Okay, like that. And lo and behold, it makes a little boat. Yay. Or a very small hat. Can you see you fold those over like that? There. And this is what you're going to drink your tea out of afterwards. Have we got it to work? David, are you? He's got it. He's given up. I have to be honest, I thought this was really simple. Let's have a little wander. Have you got one? Fantastic. Right. Now, if you want a good laugh, look at the person next to you. Can you see that? Have they got it? Does it look like that? Would it hold water? Would it keep water out? Hold on to that. Hold on to that. We're going to come back to our little boat in a moment. Because, now children, look at this. We continue in our Jesus Storybook Bible. When the ark was ready, God said, all aboard! And Noah's family and all the animals climbed inside. I don't know if you can spot how many animals there are there. There's lots of them. As we think about that, do you ever make promises? Has anybody made any New Year's resolutions? I think I need to make a resolution about these trousers. Do you ever make resolutions? Do we keep our promises? Because God made a promise to Noah. Look down in your Bibles if you can still get them there with your bits of paper. There's all sorts going on. In verse 18, it says, God says, I will establish my covenant with you, which is a promise. And you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons and your wives with you. So I'll establish this promise. And if you saw back in the Jesus Storybook Bible, it said, God told Noah, I will rescue you, I promise. Well, I don't know whether you ever make promises and don't keep them, or perhaps make resolutions and they kind of go by the beginning of January. Well, God keeps his promise to Noah. Let me continue reading this. Where are we? So they all climbed in, and then God shut the door. And it started raining for minutes that joined up into hours, that joined up into days, that joined up into weeks and weeks. And the rain joined up into puddles, and the puddles into rivers that joined up into lakes, and a flood that covered the whole world. Their big boat that once seemed so big suddenly seemed very small. But in the middle of this huge storm, in the crashing waves, in all the thunder and lightning through it all, God was with them, and God kept them safe 40 long days and 40 long nights. Now at this point, I'm wondering, children, whether you would like to simulate a storm. Okay, we have to do it over there because there's not quite room here, but could you take this, Noah? Can you take it over there? And we're going to try and, there you go. If you gather round, children, grab hold of one of these. You want to take that off? Okay. I was going to give that to, no, I won't give that to David. So what we've got is this, have you ever played the parachute game? Where you've got that, and I'd like you to try and keep this ball on the parachute and flap it around a bit, okay? Because what happened? They were in there 40 days and 40 nights. Finally, the rain stopped. The sun came out. Noah threw open all the windows. Hooray, everyone shouted. Noah sent his dove out to explore, and it wasn't long before she brought back a fresh olive leaf. Everyone knew exactly what that meant. She'd found a tree and land. The water was going down. At last, the boat landed quite suddenly on top of a great mountain. As soon as it was safe, God said, out you come, and they did. And the first thing Noah did was to thank God for rescuing them just as he promised. And the first thing God did was make another promise. I won't ever destroy the world again. And like a warrior who puts away his bow and arrow at the end of a great battle, God said, see, I've hung up my bow in the clouds. And there in the clouds, just where the storm meets the sun, was a beautiful bow made of light. It was a new beginning in God's world. You see, Noah was a faithful ark builder. He was faithful to God even when it seemed crazy, even when people around him were saying, "You are nuts for going God's way." But God more so was faithful to Noah, the promise keeper who did what he said. And in Genesis chapter 9, verse 12, it says this, "And God said, 'This is the sign of the covenant I'm making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come.'" A covenant for all generations. So it was for Noah then and for us now, God's faithfulness to us now. So last question, what was the only way on and off the ark? We go back to this. Can you see? There's a door. There's a door. One door. One door. And we go forward. We go forward to Jesus. And it says this. It wasn't long before everything went wrong again, but God wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen. That's why before the beginning of time, he had another plan, a better plan. A plan not to destroy the world, but to rescue it. A plan to one day send his own son, the rescuer. And Jesus pops up in John's Gospel, and we read here, he says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And separately, he says, "I am the good shepherd." And in that part, talking about a good shepherd, he said, "I am the gate," or in some translations, the door. The door, the only way back to God. So my question for us as we begin this new series, begin this new year, is will we trust this Jesus, this rescuer? Even if we break our promises, even if we mess up for the umpteenth time, will we go back to him and say, "Lord, will you forgive me? I want to trust you again." And to help us remember that, we're going to do one last thing with our little boats. So have you got your little boats that look like this? This could be exciting. Because I want you to tear this twice, but in quite a precise way. So can you see these flappy bits? And grown-ups, you might want to help your children here, and engineers, you might want to get excited. We've got the flappy bits. If you hold it like that, you can see that there's two lines there. If I tear down those lines, okay, and we get rid of the triangle bits, okay, the bit that's left in the middle with the point on, if you unwrap it, it should remind us of what Jesus has done. Does it look something like that? Hold it up if you've got it, and if you haven't done it like that, just hold it up anyway, because we'd like a good laugh. Mr. Elvie, come and share with the... Come on, Jonathan, show the group. What have you done? You got the. He's made a door. We've got lots of crosses. We've got some crosses here. We've got some wider crosses, some narrower crosses, some very neat crosses here from the teaching department. We like that. And it looks to me like Brenda has done what we're known in the trade as an Elvie. Have you done anything to that? You've done an Elvie. You just seem to have you actually torn it? Children, how... Oh dear, the nuclear engineering department can't fold it either. Actually, Sam, you're a teacher. You're a primary teacher. Well, whatever state you've got in, this is what we should end up with. This is the good news. This is who we remember. The story of Noah points forward to Jesus, the one who can rescue. And how does he do that? Not by sailing in on a big warship, but by giving his life on a cross that we'll remember in communion in a moment.